Get back on Esau getting mad. Isaiah 44:25. It said that frustrator, the tokens of the laws, and maketh diviners mad, that turneth wise men backward.
Read that again. What verse you at?
25.
Start at 23.
Okay, this is the book of Isaiah 44 verse 23. Saying, O ye heavens.
Right, saying, O ye heavens. This is what you're witnessing now. We the heavens. Rejoice ye heavens. Revelation the 12th chapter. All right, this is the heavens. That's why Yahweh made the statement, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Because the heaven starts with a thought. We are motivated by a pep talk. We was given a pep talk by Yahweh that we will rule. You know, out of all the adversity, all the various captivities we was forced to endure, the Lord gave us comforting words. He had a Savior prepared, you know, that would, step in on our behalf, inquisition to be made, and eventually we'll be exalted from this lowly state, man. That's in 1 Samuel the 2nd chapter, right? So we are those heavens that's rejoicing. Imagine you've been beaten down, trying to rob, rape, ravish. Good. Yep, Salaki. All right, yep, go ahead.
It's Isaiah 44:23, saying, O ye heavens, for the Lord hath done. It's like a saying, O ye heavens, for the Lord hath done it. Shout, ye lower parts of the earth, break forth into singing.
Yeah, read this one more time, Salaki. Hey, we out here, man. All right, we out here. If you impatient, you know, like you cooking, and somebody get impatient, that's on you, man. Read that again.
It says, sing, O ye heavens.
Right, sing, O ye heavens. Go ahead.
For the Lord hath done it.
Done what? The Lord have made good on his promise that he will eventually raise us up. And see, we witnessing it now. All right, the mere fact that the so-called white man is on this plunge, he's plummeting. He's on this downward spiral, this spike. He's being abased. That's how about Shah making good on his promise. Go ahead.
It says, shout, ye lower parts of the earth.
Oh, we the lower parts of the earth. That goes into Lazarus and the rich man. Right? He who laid at the gate. We at the bottom right now. The Lord says, shout, you lower parts of the earth. Right? Go ahead.
Break forth into singing.
Break forth into singing. Go ahead.
Ye mountains, O forests, in every tree therein.
They're what?
In every tree therein.
Therein. That's going into this council, man. Because this is a secret council here. This is not open to the public. And once you're out here thrust into the front lines, you see it. All right, the people walk by. They don't understand that this is the entrance of the kingdom, man. See, go ahead.
It says, for the Lord hath redeemed Jacob.
See, the Lord hath redeemed Jacob. And who that's going into? Yahweh Shah, man. All right, the Redeemer. Go ahead.
It says, and glorify himself in Israel.
And glorify himself in Israel. So the Heavenly Father is manifested through his Son in Israel. Case in point, when Yahweh Shah touched down on the ground in the physical, who he came to? He came to Israel, man. He didn't go to, those other nations, man. He dwelt amongst his people, and that's in 2nd Ezra 1, there's one people who he told to dwell among, one people. Get that. Hold that on deck. Go ahead.
God, it says, thus saith the Lord, thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb.
Yep.
I am the Lord.
Hey, now that's heavy when the scriptures say formed thee from the womb. It's a spiritual overtone to that. Because really, each and every individual was formed from the womb, right? That's talking about the mind. You was brought into this thing. You was formed from the belly, man. Okay? It was through the spirit. It was through the mind. Do not the scriptures say, be renewed by the transforming of your mind? So you was formed and fashioned into this new creature from the womb, from the mind, man. You didn't physically, you know what proved that? When you read, I think that's St. John, the 3rd chapter, where Nicodemus, he inquired of the Lord, he said, how can a man be born again? No, you're formed from this, see, go ahead.
It says, I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone,
Yep.
that spreadeth abroad the earth by himself.
Which are mighty works. All right, to stretch forth the heavens. That's a mighty work. Go ahead.
It says that frustrateth the tokens of the liars.
Oh, so that's also a mighty work. The Lord put that in the same breath of him stretching out the heavens, frustrating the tokens of the liars, biting them. They getting caught in lies, right? Their agenda it has been met with a heavy form of resistance, man. And we are the physical manifestation of that frustrating the token of liars. By us coming out here and proclaiming that the so-called white man is the devil, he's a deceiver, and behind his rhetoric, pretty much, is an agenda to establish this new world order. Which, look, man, if you're into this truth and you seriously invested in it, fret not. Because in no wise the Lord is going to give us over to the wicked imagination of you damn devils, man. Go ahead, huh?
It says, and maketh the diviners mad.
Oh, they mad. That's why this, tomorrow, matter of fact, look up that. Hey, man, you know, these devils, pretty much, they're going to show themselves. Somebody give me Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter, man. See, this man can no longer hide himself. Esau gotta be the devil. That's what he was set up to be. That's a part of the script, man. He can't somehow sidestep his role in this drama. He was meant to be the devil, the same devil that closed off Jerusalem in 70 AD. The same devil that hung the women in their infants when the women had them circumcised. Those demons is back, man. All right, Ecclesiastes 12, go ahead.
This is Ecclesiastes 12, and we'll start at verse 16. It says, an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips.
Right, that's why he told you that you don't have to worry about paying rent. Your bills, pretty much, they were going to turn a blind eye to the bills that you had. But in the back of their mind, they was holding you to that, man. Hey, because you got motherfuckers now, they got $4,600 worth of rent. Go ahead,
But in his heart, he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit.
Right, in his secret counsel. Right? This man is imagining how to overthrow Israel. See, go ahead.
He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood.
This is the opportunity. When you really take a step back and assess what's taking place, this is the perfect opportunity for the so-called white man to strike. You know, because when you really think about it, he put all his marbles into this, man. It's not like this devil gonna scrap this and say, nah, the crown, it wasn't nothing, and we gotta start back over. And he's gonna lose the attention of the people. People gonna say, nah, we don't believe it. So they gotta go all in with this. All the chips is on the table. Right? Go ahead.
If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first.
Right, being a resistor. Is that not the devil? Is not Satan that is adverse to whatever Yahweh Shema Shai has laid out? So that where adversity goes into adverse, which goes back to Satan. So you're going to find Satan there first. The so-called white man. When you was hanging from a tree, who was on the other end of the tree? It was the so-called white man. Go ahead.
And though he pretend to help thee.
Right, this man, he made it as if he had you in his best interest. You know, he told you that you ain't got to pay your rent or, you know, because of this pandemic. All of a sudden, this man loved you. But prior to that, the nigga had Fagos and Funyuns accessible. You walk in the store, that's they right there. When we say accessible, we mean that. You walk in the store, it's a little grab section. 2 for 1. You feel compelled. Yeah, you feel compelled to grab 2 of them, man. All right, this man, all of a sudden, so this, you tell me this devil, this same devil looking to help you, man, who broke up your homes and set up laws and legislations to keep you in derision, to keep you further oppressed. The reason why these prisons packed with so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans is really because the laws on the books, man. Oh, like you had this guy, come on up, you had this guy, Clinton, under his tenure, under his tenure, under his watch, man, he locked up, that was that 3-strike law. Okay, the 3-strike law. When you had Jake, they had 2 felonies, and they got caught stealing a pack of bubble gum, and they went down for life, man. You devils responsible for that, man. See, the so-called white man get a kick out of oppressing Jake. And that goes back to Genesis, the 25th chapter, which when read will understand it, when you go into that word struggle, when they struggle in the womb, it means to oppress one another. See?
Okay.
All right, come on. He got on the War Eagle shirt.
War Eagle all the way.
You heard?
Go, you ain't me.
War Eagle, see? Come on.
Ecclesiastes 14 and verse 7. And if he do it good, he do it unwillingly.
Right.
And at the last, he will declare his wickedness.
At the last, he will declare his wickedness, man. Hey, because right now, you can't, right now, you can't rebuttal what we've been saying, start with the apostles and elders for years. You would be hard-pressed to find a nigga to rebuttal. You just an all-out scoffer. You willingly ignorant. You willingly just being defiant at this point. Because right now, this man is proving himself to be the devil, man. See? All right, that was it. Come on.
Back in Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 17 again, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee.
Yeah, he will undermine you. Hey, and that's the very essence of a hunter. You know, when you consider the wildlife, deers, whatever form of wildlife out there, they get caught up in big game hunting or whatever. But when they look up with their last breeding, bro, they see the damn devil, the so-called white man over them, man. Right? So that's what you're seeing now. These devils. See that shit? Yeah. So that's why he's known as a cunning hunter. He has pretty much snared you. Again, a snare, in the very essence of a snare, was set up to lure you in. Go ahead,
He will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much.
Yeah, and he will whisper much. And that whispering again, the element of that whispering is going into his secret council. Hey, think not that the so-called, don't think for 1 second that every time this man meet and gather, that Israel is not on the top of the agenda, This man is looking to overthrow you constantly, man. Scriptures say they do not sleep until they have caused mischief. It's not just random mischief. No, that mischief, there's a prey. If you have a predator, then you have a prey. Yeah. Oh yeah, come. The hunt is on, and you are the prey. Go ahead,
It says, and change his countenance.
And what?
And change his countenance.
Meaning what? This man is going to eventually show himself to be the devil, man. We're going to see those horns come out. So it's not going to be any excuse in that day, man. Okay? And that happened in the time of Yahushua as well. Remember Yahushua in Luke the 19th chapter, prophesied about 70 AD? Well, he was talking to the same Israelites that were resisting the spirit, man, for the most part. So what happened? Those devils eventually came up, rose up against them. So that's what you're witnessing right now. You got something?
St. John 10:10. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, that they might have it more abundantly.
Right. So that's the words of our Lord Yahushua. All right. The thief. Who is the thief? Give me that trust not. See, the scriptures go into the characteristics of this thief. And yeah, because we don't have to go into any in-depth analysis over here, man, or extensive breakdown. Just take a step back and analyze the moves of the so-called white man. Okay, everything this man has gotten, he's taking it by blood. All right, that's why you have a military base throughout. I think you got what, 800 military bases. Yep, in 80 plus countries. You got embassies. Pretty much this man is keeping an eye on his interests, which he cornered the market concerning the resources of planet Earth, in particular the gold, oil, and diamonds, because that's an acronym for God, power. Those are the three real resources that control the market: gold, oil, and diamonds. So that proves that the so-called white man is in power, and he came into power by way of that sword, right? So give me that real quick.
Yeah, this is the book of Ecclesiastes,
36, verse 26. Who would trust a thief well appointed?
Yeah, who would trust a thief well appointed? A thief is the so-called white man. And see, when you come into this truth, what you develop is the mental capacity to see. Your instincts is, you know, the spiritual antennas is up now. You know your surroundings. So hold up, man. I shouldn't trust this guy. Right? You know, even when you look at your ingredients, you know, on certain things, you have to be really weary of that. Man, tell you, why the hell you got to tell me it's no GMO? This is a non-GMO product. Why the hell you got to tell me that? That's equivalent to you telling me, hey, look, man, they're on your phone. I ain't going to steal it. What are you telling me that for, man? Go ahead, man. That right there, if you're in the right spirit, you know what? Your antenna's going to be able to get this nigga away from him, man. Go ahead, man. You are not to trust a so-called white man. Go ahead, man.
Who would trust a thief well appointed?
Right, who would trust a thief well appointed? Go ahead.
That skipper from city to city.
Oh, that's skipping from city to city. So-called white man. Go back. Let's go to the humble beginnings. Go to Genesis, the 4th chapter. Hey, because let's say a nigga pop up. Yeah, you don't know where this nigga stay. He ain't got no address. His eyes red. He just go wherever the night takes him. Yeah, the land of Nod. That's Esau's address. When you go to that word Nod, it means wandering. You can't trust nobody like that. Nigga still just to sit on your front porch, you know. Come on, let's go there.
This is Genesis chapter 4. We start at verse 13. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear.
Right, and Cain, this is the so-called weapon so you can understand. Right? Which that word Cain, when you go into that word Cain, the Hebrew word that would be koyan, which means weapon or dagger. Right? And that's how we know we're under the vibration right now. This system is ran by Cain. Why? Because people trusting their weapons. Oh, we were just talking about that in the spirit before. Yeah, you got violent homos. That's a bad combination, man. An emotional, hot, jacked up homo with a 40 cal.
Fingernails.
Yeah, he want to get the last word. Man, you don't want to bump him with nobody like that. Yeah, nigga want to get the last word, but he got a 40. Well, you got women, these women in the society too. They got the strap, man. You have fast food restaurants. There's also attributes, if you will. That's the best word to use in that text. For so-called white man, right? You have fast food restaurants. That goes back to Cain. That goes back to Esau, who couldn't wait for the stew to finish brewing. He wanted it quick. He wanted that instant. So that's why you got microwaves, fast food, and scraps. Come on, right?
It says, behold, thou hast driven me out this day.
You talking about that's a part of the fast food. You come out the oven with a nigga. Yeah. Go ahead, huh?
Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth.
Yep, go ahead.
From thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive.
And I shall be what?
Be a fugitive.
Go ahead.
And a vagabond in the earth.
And a vagabond in the earth, man. Somebody look up that word vagabond, see what it gives you. All right, go ahead.
It says, and it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me.
And that's the stage we in this process, where the criminal has been found out. Now, what happens once the criminal, matter of fact, hold that, give me 2 Thessalonians. You know what I want, right? 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, man. Because the scriptures go into the chronological order of how this destruction will be perfected. Here it is again. We need that. Shit, man. 2 Thessalonians 2, man. Come on.
This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means. For that day shall not come except there come and fall away first, and that man of sin be revealed.
See, and that man of sin be revealed, which goes back to Cain. All right? And this is a phobia, if you will, of the so-called white man. To not be found out, starting with his higher-ups. That's why he gave you these names. So, yeah, he hid behind these uniforms, such as Australians and Americans and Russians and Germans. But when we found out you are Edomites, see that? Go ahead.
It says, and that man of sin be revealed,
Yep.
the son of perdition.
Woo, the son of perdition, which that word perdition means destruction. So he was birthed to be destroyed. The very existence of the so-called white man proves that there's a destruction coming. Go ahead, huh?
God, verse 4 says, who opposeth
Who opposeth, go ahead.
and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High.
Right, because any form of power, the so-called white man has pretty much thrust himself into that stratosphere. Hey, this man doesn't even acknowledge the Most High, man. Why you have, what they call it? The Big Bang Theory, which that's like a gun, Big Bang, you know? Everything about this man is violent. Even the creation was violent to him. It was an explosion, you know? Then life came from death. Yeah, go ahead. Huh?
It says, or that is
Hey, you
worship.
notice too, right? If you ever look up pictures of Esau, you notice all the pictures how he have arrows. If you look up, like if you look up images of Esau, for the most part, I know most on my end, all of them always be arrows. He have an arrow, you gotta look close. He have arrows on his back where he's shooting an arrow. Yeah. This is a beautiful piece of work by your how about you outside.
The vocal.
Yeah, oh, the Vulcan, yeah. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, they took the torch down.
Yeah.
Now the bitch got a fucking
yeah.
arrow in his
Yeah.
hand.
But that was only meant for us to consider.
Oh, spirit, that's right. Right.
It's an arrow.
It's an arrow.
It's an arrow.
Yep.
Yeah, the arrow.
A weapon.
But that's associated with the being of the so-called white man. That's why Yahweh Shai in the spirit, as Isaac said here, you know,
We don't need this.
yeah. This is what I'm gonna need. I'm gonna need for you to have this food. And that's a beautiful thing. See, by the so-called white man being a reckless, you know, gun-ho, yeah, sociopath, then that ensures that this man will not be here, man. All right, go ahead.
It says in 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4, who opposes and exalteth himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he is, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God.
And that's what this man has done. And the scriptures go into, this is a detail on how we can identify and target the corporate. It's not this man's face set up in these images, frescoes and paintings, and even movies. See? That's Job, the 9th chapter and 24th verse. He covered the faces of the judges. All right, you got something?
Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 13. For he said, by the strength of my hand have I done it.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, this was the so-called white man. Oh, where you at, 13th verse? Good, keep reading, go ahead.
He says, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent.
Right, by his wisdom, his science. Okay? The so-called white man came up with a formula to justify him being in power. That's why if you have a sit down with this nigga Bill Gates, that nigga, man. Right here, even once you got Stephen Hawking, he's dead now. He have a computer talking to you. Yeah. We must civilize. That's what they believe. They believe that they have to civilize the world. So they feel by their wisdom.
Yeah.
And that shows you, see, the so-called white man is a fool. That's in Job the 30th chapter. He don't understand that wisdom was given him from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. All right, go ahead.
Yakan. He says, for I am prudent, and I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures.
Right, and that's what he did. A form of him removing the bounds of the people is taking their lands and also taking away their true identity. Yeah, placing a shroud, a cloud of distortion in front of the nation. So now you have a Hamite saying that he's an African, you know. Go ahead.
It says,
Oh, and when you do that, now I can rob you blind. Because you don't even know what's your heritage. You think you're an African. And I'm just using them as an example.
Yakan. It says, and I have put down in the heavens like a valiant man.
Yep, so the Lord put down, the Lord has abased them. Matter of fact, we're going to go back here. Give me what you got real quick, guys.
It's Isaiah chapter 25, verse 7. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people.
Right, and the so-called white man is that shadow that covers all people. Go ahead.
And the veil.
And the veil, and it's heavy too, right? Right now, everybody got a veil on in the spirit. So it's tangible things that you can actually look at and say, you know, that's the so-called white man. Not saying that that's the breakdown, you know. I'm about to do a video, listen, hear that. They have a video, somebody with a mask on, and had Isaiah 25 and 7. No, that's just a physical tangible for those whose eyes are open, because the Lord got this man naked now. Everything points to him being this guy. So even on a physical level, you can say, oh, okay, yeah. Well, everything centers around. Hey, just like, let's say like the ICBM missile. When you break it down to the macro, is that the right word? You got bullets. They look like missiles. So across the board, that sword, that arrow, associated, you know. Yeah.
And the veil.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yep, don't be a menace. But they had the strap, then it ultimately came with the ICBM missile. Go ahead,
Start from the top again, verse 7. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations.
Yep, and that's the so-called white man, because he's a shadow. He was set up to block truth. Psalms 37 come to mind. Psalm 37, 35, that green bay tree. When you consider a tree, it shades the light, you know. All right, so come on. That was it on that? All right, come on.
Isaiah 10 verse 14.
Come on.
Yeah. And my hand have found out a nest, the riches of the people.
What verse is that?
Verse 14.
All right, go ahead.
It says, and as one gathered eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing, or opened the mouth, or peep.
Go ahead.
Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth the whip?
Right, so the axe shouldn't boast, because the axe is rendered useless unless someone actually pick it up and put power behind it. See, as menacing as an AK-47 or one of these weapons might be, it's rendered useless until someone actually pick it up and put it to work. So that applies to the so-called white man. He has no power unless it's Yahweh from outside that's giving it to him. Read that again.
Yeah, verse 15. Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth their whip?
Go ahead.
Or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it?
Go ahead.
As if the rod should shake itself against them that lift
And you
it
notice
up.
all of these are weapons. So that proves that that's dealing with Esau. Okay? And this man has boasted, he's boasted himself against the very one that gave him his power. See, go ahead.
Or as if the staff should lift up itself as if it were no wood.
Yep, which is another weapon. All right, that was it on that, right? All right, so come on.
Just to forget Ezekiel 28 and verse 2. Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord power, because thou in the heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God.
Yeah, that's what the so-called white man has said, man, in his heart. All right, he's lifted up. That's why the reasoning behind him and what he's driven by is power. Okay, this man is looking to establish himself as being really the Most High, man. That's why he want to alter your genes and, you know, make you have a certain outlook. Or you got these 5G towers, which is going to coincide with that thing. And pretty much the so-called white man is going to have complete, in his mind and his warped thinking, he's going to have complete control over your coming and going. Right? Go ahead.
God, it says, I sit in the seat of the Most High.
See, he's sitting in the seat of the Most High, meaning what? He occupies the authority of the highest. That's what this crazy motherfucker think, man. And he got scientists in the lab coming up with shit to bring that into fruition. What?
It says, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man, and not the Most High.
Yeah, you just a man, you just flesh. Oh, like the Apostle I made a beautiful point about how these devils don't have an aircraft that can hover in the heavens for 40 years, like that chariot in the wilderness. Why? Because they got to gas up. Why? That proves that you're just a man. You bound by the earthly realm, Esau. And you can't, your arms too short to box with God. Go ahead.
It says, though I set thine heart as the heart of the Most High.
Right, yeah, you set your heart as the heart of the Most High. Okay? And you about to see, we about to go into that phase where you're going to see this man, you're going to see that acted out. You know, the pride of Esau. In that complex, that God complex. Where he gonna pretty much force you to come on hands and knees. He's gonna take away all your luxuries. Oh, what's that term again?
Eviction moratorium.
Eviction moratorium. All right, that's all an effort for the so-called white man to put his foot down and try to establish himself as being a power, man. All right, come on.
God, this is all from Isaiah chapter 47 and 10. But thou hast trusted in thy wickedness.
Yeah, it's about to get bad out here. Read that again. Get the water out. Yeah. There you go. Yep, read that again.
God, it says, but thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, thy wisdom and thy knowledge have perverted thee.
Right, it's science. That's corrupted this thing. Really, that was the how about scenario, man. You're under a heavy delusion, man, that you can actually stand up against that true power of heaven and earth. When you see the glimpse of his power now, man. Lord can use this power, man. That, man. And take you out of here, man. Go ahead, Doc.
It says,
And this side of destruction coming, man. Hey, you see that, man? Y'all see that, man?
Oh, y'all about to be on the shot.
Hey, come on, man.
thank you, man. It's all right.
Turn it that way. Turn it like that. Wherever the wind goes. Where the wind hits.
Gold piece on the motherfucker.
That weather.
Man, that's bad.
Oh, it's going in. You see that?
It's
going in. Going in.
Ooh.
That's on
Oh man. They're gonna bring
it's down that way. That's the spirit.
Or will the wind keep going in?
Yeah. Yep, it's a lot. All right, come on. What was that?
Yeah, this Isaiah chapter 47:10. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none sealed me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge have perverted thee.
Yep.
And thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me.
Right, so the science of the so-called white man is perverted. Okay, he's driven by his pride. He feels as if he came up with the formula to govern over the planet Earth, not understanding that it was prophesied. And in particular, Genesis 27 chapter, where Isaac gave him the blessing of receiving the fatness of the earth. Yep, go ahead.
It reads, therefore shall evil come upon thee, that thou shalt not know from whence it rises.
Right, and that's going to ultimately be in the form of the destruction. Okay? That's why I said from whence it rises. Area of attack, man. Okay? God is going to stir up himself against Esau. And we just saw a physical manifestation of that with the wind. Because that's how the wind, that's how the destruction is going to come. It's like a hurricane or it's like a tornado, right? It started off with, gusty winds, then it picks up into a heavy wind. So So that's where we at now. It's going to get a lot turbulent. It's going to be more turbulent, moving forward. Things going to get a little more tighter. Yeah, tighter. But then that wind is going to grow and manifest into that destruction, the nuclear winds, man. See? If this is how Yahweh Shai chose to visit Esau. Give me Jeremiah 49. You got something? Well, that's good. You're right there.
Okay. Jeremiah chapter 49. And this is Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 8. It says, flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of the dead. Come, it says, flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of the dead.
Yep, go ahead.
For I will bring the calamity of Esau.
The Lord said he's going to bring the calamity of Esau. And if you're in the right spirit, you should know who is Esau. Who is this Esau who the Lord is sending these threats towards? Well, we found out it's the so-called white man. And when you put everything together, it makes sense. Have not this man greatly offended? All right? We ain't even got to mention the obvious. You know, but this man, his ill dealings towards the people on his side, the children of Israel. Let's fast forward to now. His legislations and laws. They're set up to come up against the God of the Bible, man. Right? So the Lord said he's going to bring calamity on this man because of those offenses. Well, I'm comparing. Matter of fact, look up that word calamity. Baba Kushak. Go ahead.
God, it said, for I will bring the calamity upon Esau. Excuse me, I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him.
Yep, the calamity of Esau upon him. Right? Oh, upon him. Go ahead.
The time that I will visit him.
The time that I will visit him. So the Lord has reserved the time when he's going to visit this devil. All right, nobody gets away, man. So-called white man is not going to escape with the spoils. Which the elder Yashawami went to a beautiful lesson on how these devils looking to go out in space. You got these millionaires, these billionaires, and their desire, right, is to go out into space. Well, in the spirit, they're trying to escape their judgment. Give me Ezekiel 35. I want to say it started at the very top on that. All right, who has something? You got that word? Let's get this word calamity real quick.
God, this that word calamity. Psalms 8:343. It reads, distress.
Oh, distress, right? Distress. That's about to be a heavy spirit here in America. Stress. And you see it now. You got these people, a lot of you women bugging out now because you made Esau your refuge. Now this man calling you out on that money you owe with that rent. And all you people, that's child's play, man. With the Lord prepared for this place, man. Don't make us go into the famine, right? But the famine is going to be a colorful, man. The famine is a very heavy judgment, man. Cruel form of judgment that's going to be sent by Yahweh Shai, especially as it pertains to Americans. Because you people, you know what they call it? Convenient culture. Comfort food. Comfort food. You people eat, you got in an argument with your old lady. And you stop at Wendy's. You guys are the honey mustard sauce. You on the phone arguing with I'm not going to take all that away, man. All right, come on. That was it? You got more on it?
God, yeah, it says distress, burden. It says disaster.
And that word burden is actually associated with the future and the fate of the so-called white man. Burden of Babylon. That's the burden of Babylon. Hey, you get a message. You get a message. Hey, so-and-so coming to see you and he's furious. Man, that's a burden on you. Yep, go ahead,
God, it says disaster.
Disaster. That's the climax. That's a cold word. Disaster, man. Yahweh Shai is going to destroy America. That's the message of the Bible, man. That's why we out here. The prophets being out here, this is not a call to bring black people together, man. It's something you can feel good about. No, this is the fierce anger of the Lord being manifested through his word. And which is now displayed by the prophets, man. Yep, come on. Y'all got the ground now. Just like it's windy out here. Windy and rainy, baby. Yep, go ahead.
This is Ezekiel, chapter 35, and verse 1. It says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir.
That's what we doing. We're prophesying against the so-called white man and his establishment, man. Mount Seir is really America. Go ahead,
and prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord
Oh,
power.
the key word there is against it, man. The Lord is not with America, okay? So we are to prophesy against this place. Go ahead.
O Mount Seir, I am against thee,
Go ahead.
and I will stretch out my hand against thee, and thou shalt be broken to heaven. It says, because thou
Yeah,
hast,
that's dealing with the destruction. Go ahead.
it says, because thou hast hated, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred.
Oh, now, hold up now. See, the Lord is giving you the reason why you're going to destroy America, man. Why? Read that loud, huh?
Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel
Yep, go ahead.
by the force of the sword,
Yep.
in the time of their calamity.
By the power of the sword, which is your blessing, man.
Right.
So that's why the Lord gonna visit you, man.
Right.
Okay, when we was down, laid out, you kicked us when we was down, man. Right. Go ahead, huh?
And because of their iniquity had it in.
Right, go ahead.
Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto
The
blood.
Lord has prepared vengeance for you devils, man. It was well thought out, well orchestrated, right? That's why you got these missiles laying in the ground. You got missiles in the silos. That's our Joe. The snares that laying in the ground for you devils, man. That's the Lord preparing that judgment for you. Bring it over the Bible. Yeah, come on, Obadiah, chapter, Obadiah verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Woo! You're going to be cut off. You're going to be cut off by what? The sword. Right. That sword is no guilty. Right. All right, come on.
Ezekiel, chapter 35, and verse 6, it says, therefore as I live, saith the Lord power, I will prepare thee unto blood.
Yeah, the Lord will prepare you in the blood. Go ahead.
And blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast...
Hey, blood pursue you when you running. He's so running from his fate, man. He's running from his destiny, man. The Lord on your heels. Right. The judgment on your heels. Go ahead,
And blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
Right. And you devils don't hate blood on all levels. You like the food blood, the meat blood, the entertainment centered around blood, but a vampire horror flick. Yep, all right, go ahead.
It says, thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut out from him that passeth out, and him that returneth.
Yep. Go ahead.
It says, and I will fill his mountains with his slain men.
Yeah, that's going to be the results of this destruction, man. We know that the word mountain, that's dealing with this global system. Like the Lord's going to knock off Israel, other parts of the country. It's going to be a strategic strike. They're going to go ahead and give us a gun.
Now this is the book of Jeremiah 51 and verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will rise up against Babylon and against them that dwell
The word rise again. It's going to be an aerial attack. Right. From the heavens. The Lord will rise up against Babylon. Go ahead.
and against them that dwell in the deception that rise up against me.
Yeah, because for you, not hearkening to the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and yielding to first and foremost the law, statutes, and commandments, that's an act of war.
Yes.
Your rebellion is waging war against the Most High. Yep, go ahead.
Right. A destroying wind.
A what?
A destroying wind.
A destroying wind, man. That destroying wind is those missiles, man. The words of the How Shimmy outside, man. That's how the Lord gonna visit you devils, man. And that's what Esau, man. You know, they act like the ball in their court right now. All right, like they gonna squeeze on us, cut off, money or cut off our livelihood, man. How about you now shout with us, man? You gonna make things right by destroying you devils, man. We're not gonna sit down with you devils at the table and work shit out, man. Or comply with you, man. Go ahead, huh?
God, it's just when I was sent up to Babylon, banners, that's not fan, huh?
Yeah, we're a part of those banners. Right. We stirring it up. Yeah, we instigating the beef.
Right.
We don't want this to squash, man. Right. Come on, everybody know rescue. Take all the rescue. Come on, everybody know that bullshit, man. You want your ass. Yeah, we keep reminding you. That's why you got signs. The signs in black and white. We go all the way back to the 60s. Yeah. We don't want to squash this, man. Go ahead, now. Hey, the only way for us to get the kingdom, this place got to be destroyed.
That's right.
Go ahead, now.
That's not fan, huh? It's not empty her land, for in the day of trouble, they shall be against us round about.
Right, the Lord's going to raise up the nations to come about from past America to war, and they're going to stone it. That's why the law going to be adultery. You're not going to have your house shot step in on your behalf. Remember the woman was going to get stoned? The house shot step in. No, you're going to be done, man. You're going to open your quiver to every arrow. That's the dramatic judgment that the Lord prepared for Esau, man. All right, man. All right? Hey, you won't want to see an Edomite.
Right.
You want to see no Edomite. All right, so never been on that. Hey, man, so we'll leave right there, man. You got anything else? Hey, with that, want to give all praise, honor, and glory. Double other times, keep the head of Apostle Melvin, the great Millstone. Tell the one who brothers out there laboring in his work. As always, believe the occupants of the aqua. Subscribe to 12. Next time, Shalom.
Shalom! ETA above! Soon!
Very soon.
Very soon.
Money grab, right?